Welcome everyone once again. I'm Mayor Mike, and on this episode of Talking Point, we've got some very special guests. We have Allie Farrell, who is the public relations director at WWSP 90 FM. And with her is her sidekick, the boy wonder, Jim the Oz Oliva. And today we're going to be talking about trivia. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
So it's getting that time of the year. As you would say, there's a tension in the air.
There is a tension in the air. I think she's starting to feel it too.
Are you?
The kids are too.
Just a bit. Oh, just a bit. You know how it is.
Well, you know, we talk to Jim all the time. A lot of people talk to Jim about trivia because he's iconic. 40 plus years. What are you at now? 47?
No. This is my 39th year.
Oh, it's only 39?
For me.
Oh, wow. Well, this would be my 41st year, so
You're right.
I've been involved a little bit longer. I started when I was 10 years old,
That's
believe it or
why
not.
I am the boy wonder.
The boy wonder,
to you,
yes.
right?
You're the rookie of the group.
Right, yeah.
So, Allie, let's talk about things from a staffing perspective.
Okay.
You know, it's a student-run radio station, the largest. You guys are, what, 32,000? 30,000? 30,000 watts of power.
Mm-hmm.
There's commercial stations that would be envious. But give me an idea what the student staff does to prepare for trivia every year.
Well, everyone has their own piece. Like, we're all one cog in the giant trivia machine. There is, what happens with the individual staff is there is set up for DJs and news, and there is all kinds of signups. Volunteers are very, very much a part of this. If we didn't have our volunteers, trivia would not happen. So we currently, right now, are getting air checks to see who is going to be up to the task of DJing. Same for news. There is currently going to be a mentioning of, I'm trying to find the proper way to...
Well, let me throw you off for a second because you mentioned air checks.
Yes.
For those who don't know what air checks are,
Okay.
you basically have to audition to be a trivia DJ or a news reporter, correct?
We don't just let anyone be a DJ for trivia. What happens is that there is a preset of questions that we have to read off and basically give a practice round on our own, which is then recorded on cassette so that you can't tamper with it. And from there, our program director this year, Cole Massey, who is going to go through each of those auditions individually and then choose the set number of DJs who basically have the chops to be on air for trivia.
I got to tell you, I know Cole Massey, and he rocks. Mm-hmm. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Oh, geology.
Geology, yeah, it was a geology humor. Bazinga.
Yeah.
So, for the people that don't know, talk to me a little bit about what you have for staff. You are the public relations director, you have a station manager, a news director, things like that. Each one has a part. Give me an idea of what those parts are and what each person's role is in the trivia machine.
Okay. Start with station manager, who basically is the mastermind behind the coordinator and just making sure everything flows smoothly and has all the work and stuff filled out. Then there is program director, who is in charge of making sure that air checks are in, we have enough DJs, and that they're doing their jobs correctly. For news, it's news for trivia, where all of the fun little news stories that we have, all little oddities and things like that, are compiled. And also the air checks or auditions for those to make sure that they do well enough and that they're doing their jobs correctly. Public relations, myself, making sure that we have enough news coverage on the event, as well as having posters and press releases out to everybody. There is web and social media, making sure everyone is up to date online and on social media, that the event is covered properly on all of our numerous forms of social media and on the website.
There's a lot out there, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see, we have production, which is going to focus on trivia focus, with the different interviews with the various trivia teams throughout the 56 hours. And also...
And that is a position
Yes.
where also focus, you can't do focus because you want to do focus.
Yeah, you also have to
You
audition
have to
for focus.
be picked for that.
Okay, good. That makes sense.
Having enough experience with creating things, being able to run our computer system and be able to record stuff and be able to edit things properly to make everything run smoothly.
Right.
Good. So I know when Jim starts writing, he's writing for next year's contest already. But when did the students start really kicking it into gear?
Well, executive staff began working back in January, February.
Okay.
So we've been getting that all together. Now with the students, we are having our auditions come in, but those will not, and we also have signups for all of the different volunteer positions that we have with running questions, computer operators, phone shifts, all of that. And that within, like, I'd probably say more towards April, once we have the set list of DJs in on April 7th, then we will be able to more have the students involved and the volunteers involved when we have all the schedules together, and that's when they get a little more involved.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, being part of it peripherally for all those years, I know all of the things that go on in the background to make this machine, as you said, function. The one thing that changes or evolves is the fact that we have a new group of students every year who get the experience. And you're not going to get that kind of experience at any other university-run radio station, because it is so massive and so integrated into the community that it's really one of the best experiences I think anyone could get as a student. Mm-hmm. But I think that also poses some challenges. So, Jim, why don't you talk to me a little bit about the fact that you've been doing this 39 years and how working with a new group of students every year really has its challenges, but also some of the unique things that have come out of it.
It's really exciting because each year I have all of the jobs that need to be done, and many of them correspond to their position on executive staff, and some of them are positions that they have to volunteer. They just say, okay, I'll do that. And it's basically, you need to do this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this. Well, how do I do it? I don't know. You're in college.
That's the learning
experience. You wouldn't get this far
right?
if you weren't smart enough to pull it off. So figure it out for yourself. Yeah. And sometimes I get disappointed. I'd love to tell them that there's no I in team, or there's no team in I. There's no team in I.
Okay.
Because...
But there is an M and an E, which is me.
Right. But there's no team in I because each executive staff person is the person that is going to be responsible, regardless of their team. So if somebody on their team messes up, they, as the manager, is going to be the one that will have to.
Well, and
up with me.
Jim, I really think that's a testament to you, because you've been an educator forever, and that's really a big part of it. Because first and foremost, this is a learning experience for the students. It was a student-run radio station. It is a student-run radio station fundraiser that happens to involve the community. And you really, while the core things are all covered, you really let the students take over and run that project. And that's part of the reason that it's such a great learning experience.
They have to. I mean, it wouldn't be a educational facility if the students weren't learning something. And I mean, every one of them learns a lot. Allie has had to contact people that she probably wouldn't have ever dreamed of having to contact in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And, basically everybody on executive staff has been exposed to something new, out of the ordinary, that they wouldn't normally be a part of.
And that's good, because it's literally real world experience.
Exactly.
So I know this is the largest fundraiser of the year for the station.
Yeah.
Friends of 90 FM has been around for quite a while.
Since about 97.
Now, Friends of 90 FM is the community charity group that is kind of the placeholder, the fundraising entity, I
Correct.
suppose,
Yes.
for the student-run radio station. Give me an idea of what Trivia brought in last year.
Our budget income last year was just over $77,000.
And that goes towards what?
Now that's gross.
I understand.
Okay, it pays a lot of bills.
It pays a lot of bills, I understand that, but you also do a lot of good things, Friends of 90 FM does, for the station.
Yes.
Including being instrumental in getting that 30,000 watts and that
Correct.
power and all of the equipment. So talk about that.
The transmitter that is in place right now, the entire project was $98,000. Of that, student government kicked in $25,000, and Friends of 90 FM kicked in $73,000. Each year each semester, the fall semester and the spring semester, we give a $2,500 scholarship to a student on staff who does not necessarily need the money, but they have shown their dedication to the station, putting in a lot of hours. And it's like I tell students every year, I said, if your grades don't go down a little bit, you're doing good.
Yeah. Well, it's important to note, too, that having an entity like Friends of 90 FM for the station really cuts down on a lot of red tape in some cases. So let's say you fry a DVD player. Rather than having to go through a bunch of red tape and hoops to jump through, Friends of 90 FM can get the request. They can meet and say, yep, buy it, and
Right.
you're good to go, right?
And that was one of the major reasons of forming that, because at the time, and things have changed since then, but at the time, we were on the air 365 days a year. And if we ran out of equipment, in particular back then, the stylus or a DVD player,
For those of you who don't know, a stylus is the needle on the record.
record
Put
player.
the needle on the record.
And over Christmas break, and the budget director at SGA, student government, that had to sign a purchase order wouldn't be back till the semester started. And we cannot exist that way. We have to have that equipment now.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we have with Friends of 90 FM.
Okay.
The ability to do that. Plus we reimburse we help the station each year with a contribution back to the station to help underwrite part of what student government gives them. So annually we give back to the station $14,000.
Nice. So again, trivia is the fundraiser. You've got other fundraisers. You've got Radiothon. That's the one
That's
I was
it.
trying to think of. Radiothon is another big one, which is an on-air auction that takes place the first weekend of December. But going back to the history of trivia as that fundraiser,
Okay.
it goes back quite a ways. And it's my understanding that when it originally started, it was really just to increase listenership.
Correct.
They could broadcast from the comm building to about Baldwin Hall.
They could broadcast from the comm building to the house across the street. That was fun. We were 10 watts back then.
Yeah.
And, Nick Ryan and Tim Donovan were at the station. They were on the executive staff back then. Students,
Right.
yep. And Tim Donovan came up with this idea. He went to Nick Ryan and asked him or told him, he says, we should do a trivia contest on the air. And they started it, and it's been growing since then.
So what year was that?
1970 was the first contest. So started working on it in 69.
Okay.
And then they moved on. Mm-hmm. And about 1974 was the really key year when the intro was first put together. That thing that makes hair stand on
It does.
on
Every
end.
year.
And that was the year that they were 56 hours.
Okay.
They started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they decided that was a bad idea after they did it. So that was when Tom Daniels was there, and Chris Schiebel, and that particular group of people. And then I came around in 66. I started working at the station. Or 76, I started working at the station. Yeah, in 66, I was still in college. So in 76, I started working at the station in that summer. And then I worked at for the contest in 77 and 78. After the contest was over, Chuck Roth, who was the incoming station manager, said, "Hey, you're the old guy. You want to write the contest?" I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." I wasn't guaranteeing anything, but...
And 39 years later, here we are.
Yes.
And you've had a few partners over the years. I remember Dave Schmookler. You had Mark Polzin writing for a while.
Yep.
But there's that other guy, Johnny Eckendorf.
Johnny Eckendorf.
And so how did that relationship start? How did you choose John as a co-writer, or how did that evolve?
Well, he came up to me. We were at the station at a general meeting, and I said, "I need somebody to help write the contest." And John came up afterwards, and he had played for Zeba.
Okay.
Zeba's and all of
Harlots or
the
whatever?
variety of names that they had. Zeba's Harlots, I think it was at the time. And he had been at one time they had the 10 Commandments of trivia.
Okay.
And it was presented to me in a book of TV shows, the TV show.
Oh, sure, the Primetime Directory.
Primetime Directory.
Yep.
And in there, and they had written the 10 Commandments. And they came in with altar boy, hassocks on. And Eckendorf was one of the candle holders.
Okay.
And he stood there, dead-faced, for the entire time that these 10 Commandments were being read. I could not believe he did that. But anyway, so years later, he was at the station, and he volunteered to write, and it worked out great.
Oh. Well, and as
Everybody
I said,
that I've written with has been great.
and I believe
Jack
it.
Wimmy was my first.
Except maybe there's some debate on you and Eckendorf occasionally on Horowitz, Hamilton. Let's go there.
Oh,
No, okay. No, we won't go there. But what I do want to talk about, really, Jim, is talking about how you really took that ball and ran with it. A lot of what people know as trivia is because of you and your ideas. And I don't want to get too mushy here, but everything that's evolved and the contest has grown so much over the years. I mean, we are now an international contest because of you and all of the students that have run through the radio station over the years. So I'm going to go over a few of the highlights that I remember. We had Ken Jennings, who was the all-time Jeopardy champion, not only come and play trivia, and by the way, he said that it was completely different. He expected more of an academic trivia rather than a pop culture, but he was still hooked.
And he said to me on Sunday night, he says, "You guys are really serious about this, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah."
I still talk to him occasionally.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book called Brainiac. There's an entire chapter in the book dedicated to the Stevens Point contest.
The largest chapter in the book.
It is the largest chapter in the book, and it talks about his experiences while he was here, and how it's completely like we take our stuff seriously.
On the Friday night of that contest of the year he was here,
Yeah.
he told me, he went back to his hotel room about 11 o'clock, and he came in Saturday. Whenever I saw him on Saturday, he says, "Well, at 3 a.m. I shut off the TV because I couldn't fall asleep."
Yeah, he told me the same thing. He said, okay, one more question. That question would come up. He'd think about it, wait for the answer, and then, okay, one more question.
Yeah.
And he would just keep going. Earl, who had come up with him, he was a friend of his. He still played for a few years. I don't think he does anymore. But then in 2004, we had a film crew here.
Right.
There's a documentary out there called Trivia Town.
Correct.
That's still available. And you sell that during registration
Yes,
still,
we do.
right? So that DVD is available if anybody wants to buy it. We were on Letterman. I remember there was a mention on Letterman or Leno.
On Leno.
That's right. Leno was, there's the world's largest trivia contest is being held in Stevens Point this weekend. And if you know where Stevens Point is, you win.
Right.
We were a question on Jeopardy.
On Jeopardy.
And that I think that came from Gavin and I because they had a call for questions.
Oh, really?
And we put that in there when we were working at First Financial. And so the question was, the world's largest trivia contest is held every year at WWSP. In what city? Note the SP. And of course, it was dead silence.
Nobody got it right.
They got permission to do the clip in front of that for Trivia Town. So
Correct.
that little clip is from there. That came from my collection, by the way. We have had a team in Vatican City.
Correct.
Father Derek had a team in Vatican City one year.
In Sichuan, China.
Yeah.
For several years.
There were some other ones, too. What countries do you remember that? Wasn't there one in Germany?
Germany one year.
Okay. The fact that we're streaming now.
And in Iraq.
Yep, that's right. I remember the Iraq teams. So you're streaming. There's a heck of a delay, and you have to email your answers and things like that. But the fact that it's a worldwide contest is really
They don't
cool.
email their answers.
They don't email their answers?
Oh, no,
call
they
them
have
in?
to call them in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's got to be terrible. I can't
For
imagine
who?
what that. For them, dialing the country
Imagine the
code,
phone
city
bill.
code, boom, boom, boom.
It doesn't bother me.
Not to mention the phone bill.
Right.
Why don't we talk about this year's contest?
Okay.
What's the theme?
The
How did you
theme?
come up with the theme?
The theme, I'll have you know, is
We can get John to do a graphic too.
the royalty of contests.
So why the royalty of contests?
Well, last year Prince died.
Okay.
And I thought about it, and I thought, boy, a Prince contest. no, thank you. And then I thought, well, the previous year,
You learned your lesson with Madonna?
no, that was a perfect thing. And the year before that, and it's easier to have a collage of people.
Right.
That way you don't have to worry about any one person saying, well, you can't use my likeness. And then the year before that, B.B. King died. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We have royalty here. And then that's what happened.
Okay, so you've got 5 people.
Yes.
Who are those 5 people?
Gladys Knight,
Okay.
Benny King.
Wait, but Gladys Knight, because she's the Queen of Soul?
No,
That's Aretha Franklin.
there's a
Okay.
knight.
Oh, a knight.
Knight.
Are knights royalty? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Knights of the Round Table.
Okay.
Okay, Benny King, Prince, Kitty Wells,
Okay.
the Queen of Country. She
Okay.
is the Queen of Country. And I had somebody email me and say, "Oh, is that Patsy Cline, the Queen of Country?" And I said, "First of all, Patsy Cline is not the Queen of Country." And he said, "Oh, okay." And lastly is Benny King or BB King.
Yeah.
BB King.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and I really like the logo that you've got their likenesses in the shape of a crown.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. How did I'm sorry, not that. The trivia kickoff movie.
Yeah.
That is when
The 7th and 8th
of April.
of April
Okay.
at
Now
midnight.
that's 2 weeks before the contest,
2 weeks
right?
because Easter is the week before.
Okay.
And the 7th and 8th at midnight,
Okay.
each of those days. And for the old people that can't stay up that late at night,
I'm in that group these days.
there's a 10 a.m. showing on Saturday morning, the 8th.
Okay, good. Now, the trivia movie has evolved too over the years.
Yes.
Because I remember where you would announce it and there'd always be shorts. I remember a Three Stooges bit
Yeah.
at one of the movies. But
And then we stopped the movies for a while because everybody was able to rent movies. And then we started it back up again with the idea of getting independent movies that weren't available or trying to get a movie before it became available. And all it did was create people wanting to steal movies and download them off the internet. So I said, to heck with it. We're just going to show an old movie and be done with it.
But you know,
And
that's
that's
a really
turned out
cool
great.
idea because it's going to be movies that were on the big screen, but nobody in this current generation and maybe even 2 generations back have ever seen it on the big screen.
Right.
And that's quite an experience. So I really like that a little bit more.
Yes.
You may have, did you notice any attendance dropping because of it? Because now people can buy that movie on DVD or things like
Well, I think last year there was just a little bit of a drop, but other than that,
that. And I
it's
think
been
most
pretty
people will come for the
consistent.
experience.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they don't know what the movie is. They don't know what the shorts are. And you always drop little hints
Do I really?
regarding the contest. Yeah, we'll hit you up before you leave today. But, so,
And the movie this year is it's just when the guy that usually gets the movies or gives me a list of ideas.
okay.
And as soon as I saw this one, I said, "Yep, that's it. That is it."
Well, we're looking forward to that. Anything that you want to share about this year's contest that you think people might want to know?
Oh, and the other thing is that with the movie, it's $3. I mean, you can't even rent the movie for $3. Well, I think you can, but it's
Maybe
you have it on
the
your
red box.
dinky 50-inch or 40-inch television set. Come on,
I
This
would
is not a
encourage
big screen.
anybody to come see the movie.
I know
It's always
that
an experience.
the first one that we did, where we went back to the vintage movies, is we showed Casablanca.
Okay.
And when the map came up at the beginning of the movie, all I heard was everything, laptops closing, notebooks hitting the floor, and people just sat back and enjoyed the movie, which is what it's all about. And that's what I want to see happen. And I want to get these guys to come to this one because I know that none of them have ever seen it. I know that there's not a living trivia player that could have possibly seen this movie in the theater.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And so it's kind of fun thinking about that. what do I want you to know about this year's contest?
Other than the fact that Hoover's going to be closed because of the grade separation.
Right. Did you see? I
I
already announced.
You're going to start one stone glue on the north side going south and the other one on the south side going north.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, we're going to have to stay away from that part. Just like last year, we stayed away from 51 Post Road down in Plover. Well, yes. Make sure you check the rules.
Make sure you check the rules.
Because there is a new rule that is going to happen this year.
Dun, 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 yes.
Going into effect, and it will be clearly stated at the beginning of the contest.
Okay. Well, that really doesn't give people the opportunity to back out. Maybe they'll decide because of this rule that they don't want to play anymore.
I doubt that has anything to do with it. No,
maybe they'll just choose to ignore the rule.
It just has to do with multiple call-ins per question.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to have to do a little bit better job of regimenting their team, pulling the guys in, and having everybody in one room calling.
Yeah.
Last year we had over 360
duplicates
times when multiple teams called in multiple times.
Yeah, I know.
That's just wasting the resource.
Right. It is.
And we're going to do a little bit. Wrote the most ridiculous question ever.
Ever? Really?
The most ridiculous
question. You set the bar pretty high on these.
I know it, but this is without question the most ridiculous question that we've ever written.
Okay, ridiculous.
Absolutely absurd, because people are going to go, well, what does he want?
We do that a lot, almost every question.
No. This one you're really just going to go, wait a minute. Did they really ask this?
So we got just a minute or so left. Registration opens when?
April 17th, 3 to 7, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 7 that week. Then Friday the 21st from noon until 6-ish.
Okay.
We like to close it up a little bit before 6. $30 per team, and you can have as many people on your team as you'd like.
Okay. I know a lot of people do the networking now, so they'll do live chats or Skype or FaceTime with their other teammates, so that's a big deal for people.
And that's good.
The trivia parade, one of my favorite parts.
Starts at 4 o'clock, and if you go to 90fmtrivia.org, 4 o'clock on Friday the 21st, if you go to 90fmtrivia.org and follow the link to the parade, you'll see the route that the parade's going to take.
Okay. And one of my other most recent favorites is the trivia merchandise. A lot of teams have traditions, and you started a tradition where every year you kind of have a unique one.
Yeah.
I remember the immunity idol, the wax candle thing was one of the first ones. What's the item this year?
What is it?
Scarves.
I told her.
Yes.
Scarves.
They're going to be, I think it's fleece.
Fleece
scarves.
Okay, so like winter scarves or ascots?
It's a scarf.
I was going to say, you told me more in the vein of winter scarves.
Well,
I had a similar question.
Fleece scarf.
Okay.
And
which could come in handy during some trivias. I remember the year we had so much snow you had to cancel the running questions or stone clues.
But after having gone through the one year that we did shortly after that year, I said, I don't care if there's 18 feet of snow, we're still having the stone clues.
Okay, good. And Allie, one maybe last question for you. If someone wants to volunteer to be part of it, whether it's bringing food or answering phones or any other general help that you might need, where can they go? How can they get involved?
They can just come into UWSP's communications building, and we are in CAC 105, which is on the floor, and first door on the left, follow the music, and basically come in. We have sign-up sheets everywhere, or just talk to one of the executive staff. We are always open and willing to answer any questions, and we're pretty much looking for people at every turn.
Beautiful.
Or they can call 715-346-3755 and leave a message.
Perfect. Okay, well, that wraps it up for this session of Talking Point. Until next time, I'm Mayor Mike, and I want to thank Allie and Jim for joining us. We've been talking trivia and also Talking Point. Thanks for joining us.